February 6th, Lou Bloss. Welcome to 365 Christian Men, where every day we aim to inspire and encourage with real-life stories about men. Lou is a man with wide-ranging experience. He is a U.S. Army veteran and an award-winning journalist who has published everything from minor league baseball news to Christian devotionals to how to write a textbook. Lou owns Lou Bloss Media, which provides marketing, advertising, and publishing for the restaurant industry. And Lou is a man with a great sense of humor. He can keep a straight face while he boasts about his bowling average of 132. But of course, that sense of humor doesn't mean Lou's life has been all ponies and firecrackers. Here's his story.
Real courage calls you to stay the course. Answers will come. Early morning sun shone through the windows, blanching the pages of the open Bible. The young father sat motionless. Upstairs, his daughters slept. They were too young to understand the gaping hole left in cancer's wake. Who was he now, he thought? A widower, a single father, and one half of a shattered whole. He skimmed the page, a story he had read many times, but this time, the words spoke to him with new meaning. Genesis 35 says, "And as Rachel was having great difficulty in childbirth, the midwife said to her, 'Don't despair, for you have another son.' So Rachel died. Over her tomb, Jacob set up a pillar, and to this day that pillar marks Rachel's tomb. Israel moved on again and pitched his tent beyond Migdal Eder. He pulled his Bible closer and saw with an understanding that had seemed impossible even moments before. Lou and Terry Bloss had looked forward to the birth of their second daughter. With only 3 years between them, their daughters would grow up close friends, as well as sisters. Lou and Terry had spent the last months of the pregnancy doing typical things. They got the nursery ready, talked with their firstborn about becoming a big sister, and made plans for their future. But a rare form of cancer was silently spreading throughout Terry's body. Within 4 months of their daughter's birth, Terry was gone. Lou said, "I had these expectations of happily ever after, but life didn't work that way." The weeks and months following Terry's death were the most difficult of Lou's life. He said, "Everything felt hard. Just getting up felt hard. I knew I had to get my head together. I had 2 young daughters depending on me. But I had the same question anyone else would. How?" Until he had answers, Lou simply stayed the course. He showed up at his job every day, even on the days it felt impossible. He continued to go to church, even when he wanted to stay home. And he maintained the friendships he and Terry had cultivated together, even though it hurt him to do it without her. Most importantly, Lou clung desperately to God and looked for answers in the Bible. Daily reminders of God's love, the kindness of his co-workers, the support of his friends, these comforted him. But the strength he needed to survive came from the quiet time he set aside each day to pray and read his Bible. One morning, several months after Terry's death, he had a breakthrough. He said, "I was reading the story of Jacob in Genesis 35, and it hit me. Jacob was on his path, doing what God told him to do, and his wife Rachel died in childbirth. She named their son Benoni, which means son of my sorrow. But Jacob renamed him Benjamin, which means son of my right hand." He didn't want to constantly dwell on the sorrow. He wanted to dwell on the good. Jacob buried Rachel. He grieved her and memorialized her, remembered her. But he also moved on and continued with what God had called him to do. I thought that was significant. I knew I couldn't constantly dwell on what I had lost. I had to move forward. The more I thought about it, I realized moving on with my life was an act of faith. Lou believes this same process, grieving, and then moving on in faith applies to many of life's difficulties. He says, for all of us, something drops into our lives unexpected. We get fired, get hurt, we lose someone. Things happen. Some people get kicked down the hill and don't get back up. You have to get back up. Are you facing difficulties in your life? Take a moment and write out something you could do today to move forward. Real courage calls you to stay the course. Answers will come.
Hello, my name is George Morrison. Our story is about a gentleman named Lou Bloss. Lou had a successful career in the Army. He continued along and had a great career as a journalist and writer, but he also suffered great loss. As I listened to this story, I had to ask myself the question, could I endure such hardship as losing a family member, a loved one? And my answer was, without the grace of God, I don't think I could do it. I don't think any one of us can really face the challenges that we face each and every day without the grace of God. You know, my challenge to you today is think about, where are your feet standing firm on? Do they have a good foundation in a relationship with Jesus Christ? You see, Lou, he turned to God during this difficult time. He turned to God's word for encouragement and for direction for his future. And he was able to stay the course. If we're going to stay the course, we better know who holds the future, and that is God himself. So let's take on the challenge of making sure today that we knew who we believe in and who we trust in, so that we can face any difficulties that come our way in this life, and there will be many of them. Stay the course. Press on to all that God has for you, because we know that he works all things out for the good to those that love him. Thank you, and God bless.